Hello, all, and welcome to this afternoon's Shochu review. Kind of doing a little bit of a report of the week sort of thing, even though I don't have a report of the week sort of vibe. I have a I have an almost post-apocalyptic vibe. Yeah, I was stacking things and it kind of collapsed while I was vacuuming. Anyways, you can go and see the sun over there too. Too bad I'm not reviewing a beer. Otherwise, I could just go and stick it like right there, and boom, you can go and see right through like the beer and see what it looks like. Um, but this is shochu that we are reviewing, and so as you know, shochu is more or less clear unless it's aged. Very few shochus are aged. We will be reviewing an aged shochu later this month. But right now we are reviewing Kiyosato Distilleries Honkaku Shochu. That is shochu that is undiluted. Most shochu is lowered from in between 60 to 40% ABV down to about 25% ABV. This one stays at 44% ABV. Not exactly sure why they do it that way. I'm sure somebody on here probably would know better than me. Uh, Not immediately after I upload this, but I find it really strange. I'll go and get like comments like literally years down the line, including one on a review that's almost a decade old already. Um, you know, and so if you do know more about shochu than me, which is probably the case. Like I said, my main knowledge is on beer, so I just like imojochu quite a bit. Again, this is not an imojochu. This is a Jagaimo jochu. So instead of sweet potato, it is regular stew potatoes. So white potatoes. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is I'm boiled up some hot water in my tea kettle. We're going to do a quick tasting out of the Glencairn so we can get a sense of the smell. And then we're going to make ourselves some oyuwari. And I'm going to make this a very dense oyuwari because I want it to, still have a lot of that shochu character to it. Whew! My goodness. Very thick, very viscous. It eventually forms some legging though. Slightly lighter and brighter in, aroma than a imojochu. This one still has like that earthy flavor, that earthy nose, kind of rustic. But overall, yeah, that sort of white chocolate note or milk chocolate note I noticed in the original expression of the shochu is intensified, so it no longer smells like chocolate. In fact, it's quite difficult to go and place what it is. It's almost like a cross in between floral, herbal, and earthy all at the same time. Overall, kind of sweet smelling on the nose. Yeah, it smells rather herbaceous at times, but like elements of something that would be in gin or absinthe, but not actually having like the anise there. It definitely has a very strong herbaceous and floral aspect to it underneath that earthy base. But it can't quite suss out what it evokes in me. Okay, onto the palate now. Ooh, wow. Definitely kicks like a mule. You feel that 44% ABV. And I see why, yeah, the 25% one definitely is a bit more pleasant on the palate. It is, that is to say, there's more than just, ethanol there. There's quite a bit of things. It's just so intense that you can't really suss it out. Very spicy, very peppery, even getting beyond the alcohol burn aspect of it. Black pepper, white pepper, not like red pepper, like a rye whiskey would be. Very intense, grassy aftertaste. And poor taste too. Like I said, it is very intense, very concentrated in flavor. It's almost a bit too much to take just neat. Okay, let me go check here. Yeah, I really wish they had like tasting notes, but you know, yeah, it's not quite. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the sink and I'm going to pour out a bit of hot water just to heat up the glass a little bit so it doesn't cool down too much. Then we'll make some oyuwari. This is my tea kettle, by the way, for those who are curious. Gets a lot of usage. Okay, yeah. It's warming up nicely. Yeah. Want to definitely get that glass good and warm. Now for the hard part here, getting the water to Shochu ratio right. Because you have to go and Yeah. Should be about 40 to 60 with the shochu going into the hot water rather than the hot water going on top of the shochu. See, you don't want to put the shochu in first because it is so thick that if you pour hot water on top of it, it's not going to mix properly. You want to pour into it. Okay. I think that should be about right there. Please be right, please be right, please be right. Okay, less off than last time. Okay, so now it should be at about 25%, which is the strength that, shochu usually is. Only this time it is oyuwari. Oh, my goodness. That is... Whew. Since I overpoured, probably more closer to 20%, but yeah, this is what I'm looking for here. Ooh. Definitely changed it quite a bit. Very floral now. There's still the earthiness there. Much less herbaceousness in the nose. Deeply aromatic now. Almost smells kind of like certain kinds of wood bark. Still very rustic smelling. Yeah, onto the palate now. Much drier than the I remember the original version being. Still has that pepperiness, emerges in the mids now, and very warming. Yeah. At the same time, though, it's still concentrated enough that I think I'm not getting as much as the delicate notes that I usually get from like a regular oyuwari. It's kind of like hot shochu. Still deeply pleasant, though. Deeply pleasant. Deeply evocative of experiences for me. Again, lots of that pepper. Not too much of the earthiness in the palate now. Drier than the regular, but at the same time, still having sweetness. All in all, pretty pleasant. I enjoy. For those of you wondering, no, I will not be doing oyuwari of the aged version. Generally speaking, you don't go and make oyuwari out of aged versions of anything. It basically blasts away what aging would do to it. Um, oyuwari is basically for heavier, rawer, rougher alcohols that come more nuanced and delicate with the addition of hot water. I also find it kind of funny too that I really enjoy oyuwari, but I I'm not one of the people who go to, whenever I add like a spoonful of water to a dram of whiskey, I always find it lesser. But when I add hot water to a shochu, I always find myself enjoying it much more. Go figure. And I just bumped my desk. That's why the world just shook. Again, so in a kind of a grassy aftertaste and a long finish. A bit of wet stone there too, in the front to mids. Kind of hard to suss out from the floral aspect there. Yeah. Um, so if you like emo jochu, I highly recommend that you try this. If you've never had it before, it's probably going to be pretty rough, to say the least. That's okay. I like it. I find it's like an unpolished diamond, as it were. And adding hot water is me polishing the edges towards my own personal tastes. That being said, if you do like this kind of thing, yeah, definitely want to give this one a shot. If you're up in East Hokkaido by the, what river was that again? I believe the Shuri River. Yes, the Shuri River. Shadi River. Sorry, Shadi River. And yeah, I don't think you can get this in the States. Uh, but if you're in Japan, in Hokkaido, give it a shot. And that is your shochu review for this afternoon. Kampai!